at this fight. I sat ringside, and I mean, the buzz was incredible. Like, the build-up to this fight was years in the making. You had Golovkin dominating the middleweight division since coming over from Europe, and Canelo kind of building up to this moment, you know, not willing to go to 160 pounds for a while, finally agreeing to fight Golovkin, and here we are. T-Mobile Arena, Las Vegas, sold out, mega event in boxing. And these are two guys coming off significant wins. I mean, Golovkin was months removed from beating Daniel Jacobs. Big moment for him. And he's hyped. He wanted this fight for so long. You know, one of the things I remember about Canelo for this fight is this was his first real fight as a 160-pounder. He had fought Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. in his last fight at 164, but that's Chavez Jr. I mean, he's absurd.
Floyd Money Mayweather. Fight where Canelo fought to the very end and just came up short. He is older, he is larger, and in November of 2015, he beat Miguel Cotto to win the middleweight championship of the world. Golovkin has operated in his own world among middleweights, collecting several of the belts. Tonight, Chris Mannix, we know the winner will be the middleweight champ.
Yeah, and they have made Gennadiy Golovkin wait for years for this opportunity. They wanted Canelo Alvarez to be a full-blown middleweight at this point. They believe now's the time for Canelo to make his stand at 160 pounds.
And Sergio, a fascinating clash of styles as well.
Yes, it is. I mean, they're both power punches, in my opinion. Only Canelo's an explosive power puncher. He has a little bit more speed, but Golovkin, his timing and his power is a little bit more effective, in my opinion.
Golovkin had, yeah, he was not the faster fighter, but man, he was powerful. I mean, some of the body shots. I was ringside when he knocked out Matthew Macklin with a body shot.
We've all been waiting for. As Oscar De La Hoya's Golden Boy Promotions and
He was intimidating.
Promotions proudly present.
But coming into this fight, I think we were all somewhat wondering, you know, was Golovkin still the real deal? Like, he had beaten Jacobs, which was his most significant win easily. But most of his wins up until this point were kind of middle of the pack guys, Daniel Geale types. Winning by knockout, did everything he had to do, but this was a real test for him. And for Canelo, it's just another chance for him to prove that he was more substance than style. And I think he'd proven it at that point. Like, he had beaten the Arislandi Laras, the Austin Trouts. He beat Miguel Cotto. So he beat some good fighters, but this guy was a middleweight wrecking ball at that time. You can't underestimate just how big a deal this was for Canelo.
The three judges at ringside: Adelaide Bird, Dave Moretti,
Adelaide Bird.
Don Trella.
Just remember that name.
Inside the ring, in charge of the action at the bell, your referee, Kenny Bayless. And now, the officials are at ringside and they are ready. The fighters are in the ring and they are ready.
Adelaide Bird, who most people watching knows became a part of the narrative that surrounded this fight. I had warned about her, and I had heard from different promoters prior to the fight that she could have been a liability there. There were promoters coming in that had asked to get her off fights because they're a little bit nervous about how she would score it.
Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner with head trainer Edison Reynoso. wearing blue with gold and officially weighing in at 160 pounds. His professional record, 49 victories, including 34 wins by knockout, only 1 defeat with 1 draw. He has been in 15 consecutive world title fights coming into the ring and captured 3 world championships.
Yeah, there are a lot of fake titles in boxing, but being in 15 straight world title fights is pretty impressive.
World champion, the reigning, defending, ring, lineal middleweight champion of the world, Saul Canelo
Enormously popular fighter, Canelo.
And across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner with his head trainer, Abel Sanchez, wearing khaki green and officially weighing in at 160 pounds. This Olympic medalist now has a perfect professional record of 37 fights.
Sanchez and Golovkin were just perfect fits to each other. Sanchez was a trainer that was really out of the game before Golovkin came into his life. And Golovkin was a polished fighter. I mean, he was a world champion. He was a decorated amateur. But you can't underestimate the impact that Abel Sanchez has, turning him into a professional power punching fighter.
Ring center, ring center. Back out of the way. Ready. Okay, gentlemen. Trucks are good on both sides. Now we went over the rules in the dressing room. I want to caution you to keep this fight clean at all times. Protect yourself at all times. And what I say, you must obey. Good luck. Touch them up, Brenda Suarte.
No bad blood between these two guys coming in. Frustration by Golovkin that he couldn't get Canelo in the ring, but months earlier when Canelo beat Chavez, they shook hands. So at this point, they were friendly rivals.
Finally, here to settle it in the ring. Should be fascinating.
So I scored this fight for Golovkin the first time around. I'm going to rescore it here as I'm watching on TV.
Underway, round number 1. Canelo Alvarez in the blue trunks, Gennadiy Golovkin in the gray.
And you can see an obvious size advantage for Golovkin early.
So long to make is because these two have sparred each other in Big Bear. They know what to expect, and they respect each other's power and speed and timing.
It's a long time ago they sparred each other, though.
Out Gennadiy Golovkin a little bit as this big destroyer at 160 got a little bit older.
Canelo also coming up out of 154 pounds. Fought Floyd Mayweather near that weight, the catch weight, and then became the junior middleweight champion.
See, this is kind of how I thought the fight would start.
These guys look like
with Golovkin sort of the aggressor and Canelo being on the move.
Golovkin is also, as Canelo tries with the right hand, Golovkin is also not a full-size middleweight. He kind of fits in between 154 and 160, don't you think so?
Golovkin's really good at cutting the ring off.
5'10". He has the right height as a middleweight, but I don't think he has the mass or the muscular in the torso.
He's just such a good boxer and so strong. He certainly can rise to the top, and he has done that at 160 pounds. Canelo is the man backing up at this moment. Triple G is the man who is used to moving forward. Stalking, menacing, accurate with his punches, also with outstanding defense. Canelo with the guard up, very good conventional boxer. Both men looking to establish their jab.
And Canelo may not be the most skilled fighter at 154.
Good body shot by Canelo.
But he has beaten some of the most skilled fighters in and around that weight class, whether it's Erislandy Lara, Austin Trout, or his first middleweight title fight against Miguel Cotto.
Canelo is the man who beat the man. Lineal middleweight champion of the world.
Really good first round for Golovkin so far. I mean, that jab is his best weapon. It's a power jab.
Good combination combination there by Canelo as he tries it.
We still haven't seen Canelo assert his speed.
Who beat Jermaine Taylor, who beat Bernard Hopkins, who Chris Mannix, even you have to admit, was the middleweight champion of the world.
He was the middleweight champion. As far as lineal goes, I don't care.
I'll follow it back to Jack Dempsey in heavyweight if I have to.
Canelo just missed.
Brian Kenny
right
loves himself the lineal champion.
Vicious, but he just missed.
Good combination by Canelo, moves forward again behind the jab, throwing the right hand.
See, this is where Canelo, I think, realized that he doesn't have to be the mover here. You can back this guy up, but it's always for a fighter, when you feel the power for the first time and you start to realize what you can take,
Both are methodical, Sergio.
It's a big moment.
You wonder how the rhythm will be established.
The rhythm and depends what you like. I mean, Triple G came forward, but Canelo boxed really well that first round.
Canelo made that closer. I gave it to Golovkin, though. See, to me, this was a big moment for Eddie Reynoso, the trainer of Canelo Alvarez. I was really critical of the game plan Canelo had for the 2013 Floyd Mayweather fight. Like, he was trying to outbox one of the best boxers ever. I didn't understand that at all. He didn't assert his size in that fight. So, for me, this was a big moment for the Reynosos.
Gennadiy Golovkin coming off a win, a hard-fought win against Daniel Jacobs in Madison Square Garden. Now coming up with this super fight, but Jacobs made things very interesting. He was tested like he never was before. Now he rises to this challenge against Alvarez. Round number 2, Chris Mannix, how would you score round 1?
Big round to Gennadiy Golovkin, a little more effective with the jab.
Yeah, same scorecard.
Shots in the middle of the round, but Gennadiy controlled it.
Again, we'll give scores as we go through, recognizing that while we're calling the fight, we'll judge it perfectly.
Yeah, Golovkin is effective at backing up Canelo, but Canelo is boxing. He's moving more than normal because he has to get an angle on Golovkin. He can't just stay in front of him. He has the faster hands and maybe more explosive, but he has to respect Golovkin's power.
Golovkin able to get out of trouble there as Canelo is throwing jabs straight ahead. Very effective straight ahead fighter with the jabs.
Golovkin about 34 when this fight took place. Canelo in his mid-20s. That's what drives me crazy about boxing. You just don't get two prime guys going at it. There's always reasons not to make those fights happen. Drives me nuts.
Difficult puzzle to solve. Golovkin's defense is outstanding. He's able to slip that last jab. He's able to get out of danger. See him back up and get away from
a good combination by Canelo.
Sergio, we've seen a lot of Golovkin fights at this point, and it's subtle, but he is just a master in there of keeping the space exactly where he needs it to be.
It's very subtle, and notice how he just moved his chin a little bit to avoid the punch of Canelo. It reminds me of the great Julio Cesar Chavez when it looked like he would take a punch to the chin, but he rolled with the power of the punch, and Golovkin does that excellently.
And he will roll with it. He'll also use the European style.
I think one of the things I wanted to know coming in was, was Golovkin's fight, was his power real? I mean, he was a devastating puncher against lesser tier opponents, but Jacobs went the distance with him. And now you have Canelo, basically 154-pound fighter moving up.
Right now, Golovkin has
would Golovkin's power be able to stop it?
And putting the pressure. And we know how much judges love pressure. Whether it's effective or not, Golovkin's coming forward.
Triple G with the jab, straight ahead. It is a tight jab. There's no tells in it. Comes right off the shoulder. It's fluid.
Golovkin less impressive in this round.
Power, and he's always ready to throw power shots if the opportunity presents itself. Final seconds of round number 2. Uppercut to the body by Canelo.
Love that counter uppercut by Canelo.
Yeah, it's possible to punch that, say, Golovkin outlanded Golovkin, but Golovkin outlanded Canelo, but I thought that round was for Canelo.
muy lento, mijo, ¿eh? Es muy lento, es fuerte, pero es lento y pega. Hay que estar así trabajando. Déjeme hablar. Hay que estar... Cerradito, mijo, cerradito, por favor. ¿Estás haciendo una buena pelea? Hay que pelear en medio del ring. En medio del ring lo estás dominando. Le pegaste un gancho ahorita que lo sintió. Hay que estar pegando mucho abajo.
Right now, Canelo telling this corner that he doesn't punch hard. Golovkin doesn't punch as hard as he.
And that's a big moment. If Canelo realizes after 2 rounds that the power of Golovkin isn't going to be significant enough to back him up, that's huge.
Sergio is also able to throw different types of shots. He doesn't have one jab, one right hand. He has different pace, speed, and power behind different versions of each shot.
Interesting. Canelo's telling this corner that Golovkin doesn't punch, but yet he's the one moving and backing up. We'll see if that continues.
Round 3 here in Las Vegas. Brian Kenny with Sergio Mora and Chris Mannix, the middleweight championship.
I think the game plan coming in was to move, to try to counter a little bit.
And the WBC. Lineal as well. Good jab by Triple G. Canelo comes back and fires a right hand to the body.
You know, Gennadiy Golovkin is a great middleweight, but stylistically, he's a fit for Canelo Alvarez, who prefers to counterpunch more than come forward.
Love that body shot of Canelo right there with excellent head movement. Come back.
As you see, 3rd round assertiveness from Canelo, standing his ground right there in the middle of the ring.
Uppercuts, throwing straight right hands. Alvarez is aesthetically pleasing. Again, has a good explosive style. Comes back, right hand to the body, hook to the head. As Golovkin almost smiling, fully engaged in what's in front of him. Knows he has a real fight on his hands.
It's a back and forth battle. Both of them throwing similar punches. Jab, right hands, left hooks. They're both coming up short, countering. It's a very exciting fight.
This is a chess match with real power. Velocity, power, subtlety.
I'd like to see Golovkin throw that jab a little bit more to kind of keep Canelo from throwing and winging those big shots.
They're doing so many things that I don't know if everyone's picking them up, but it's brilliant what they're doing in there.
Wow, underneath the hook, too. Just a beautiful weave. I don't use the word weave very often now in boxing, but that's Golovkin getting underneath the hook. And throws a hook back and lands on Canelo. Canelo tries with the hook, and then the jab.
Canelo not moving as much this round, moving his head, but not moving his feet, moving around the ring. He's catching Golovkin's shots now, looking for a counter, coming forward now.
These are one of these fights, and this is how you know it's a great fight.
I mean, look at it. The first round, Canelo was on his bike, moving backwards. Golovkin was moving forwards. Most of this round, Canelo's the one moving forward.
Dropping down low, Canelo tries the hook to the liver. Uppercut lands by Canelo.
Canelo is known as an explosive combination puncher, but with a counter puncher like Golovkin, who would punch in between.
And you see the value of speed. Canelo's speed is just on a different level for that weight class.
Look for the right shot.
Golovkin with the right hand, always the aggressor, always moving forward.
That's how you know Canelo respects Golovkin, because he's not throwing combinations at him. He's trying to pick the right shot, 1 or 2 shots only.
Golovkin moving his head as he moves inside as well, able to slip jabs, and then lands a hook.
A hook landed on the shoulder. That's exactly what Abel Sanchez told and asked Golovkin to do. Throw the shots to the shoulder. That's where it's
Feels like Canelo thinks he won this round.
We're through 3.
I don't know. That was a close one. I'd give it to Canelo. But that's one of those rounds I don't have a ton of confidence in.
Good jab, and the shots have to be here. Forget about the top. Just hit Kelly's body right here, okay? Yeah. This is the 5th, I think. This is the 4th, okay? Deep breath.
Come on, Abel.
Okay?
Yeah. Got the round right. 4th round.
Deep breath. Okay.
These rounds seem pretty close. Again, Chris Mannix, you're doing our unofficial scoring here. 3rd round, where'd you go?
Yeah, I agree with Abel Sanchez. Gave that round away 2 rounds to 1 in favor of Canelo Alvarez.
Round
same
4,
scorecard.
Vegas, Brian Kenny, Chris
Watching
Mannix,
on the screen.
Sergio Mora, the Latin Snake. Gennadiy Golovkin moving forward, pressing on Canelo Alvarez. The rounds are close. It's being fought at a brisk pace. And a good sharp jab from Alvarez.
And once again in that corner, Abel Sanchez asked Golovkin to punch at the shoulder. Don't look at the head. Right now, the head movement of Canelo has been really sharp right now. It's come back
So one of the things I was looking for going into this fight was, would Canelo be able to do all this for 12 rounds? He's gone the distance in a lot of fights, but he's never gone the distance with a fighter that is offensively oriented as Gennadiy Golovkin.
High-level championship action. You see Golovkin able to step back and watch a jab fall a half-inch in front of his face. He is such a defensive master there. Canelo,
Golovkin's got to throw that jab
himself,
now.
able to slip away from those shots.
Canelo and Golovkin are throwing similar punches. It's like
You can definitely see the confidence growing in Canelo, though.
Right now, Golovkin has been getting the better of it.
You wonder too, Sergio, if you're Canelo Alvarez.
This is one of those fights, though, where the fighter that's the more assertive, more aggressive, that's walking the other down is having the better performance. Like, this is not where Canelo wants to be. Pinned against the ropes, letting a big puncher kind of stare. You can shake your head all you want, but you're going to lose this round if you fight that way.
Telling the monster, come on, bring it on.
Manny Pacquiao used to do that, but not against a fighter like Golovkin.
He did go down. Both of us put each other down, that's for sure. Thanks for bringing that up.
Good patience there by Golovkin, too. Didn't get crazy and get countered.
Right hand and a hook from Golovkin. She presses in again. Canelo spending some time on the ropes and lived to tell about it.
He was on the ropes, but was Golovkin effective when he had Canelo on the ropes?
Nope.
That's the thing.
I don't think he was doing anything, Sergio.
Neither do I.
Thought he was doing okay, and especially when you compare it to the fact that Canelo was just standing there.
Slip those shots right hand by Golovkin. Good sharp jab by Canelo. And a right hand.
At these moments, Golovkin's got to keep throwing that jab. That's a point scorer.
Really, because they're both kind of picture perfect, straight up, aesthetically pleasing traditional boxers. Is that Canelo Alvarez just gets a little more oomph and fire on his shots. Loads up a little more.
Yeah, Canelo
throws him harder.
He hits harder, but he hasn't done anything in this round. He's moved, he stood. It was an easy round for Golovkin.
So you got to give Canelo some credit for that, the defense and the head movement.
No, Sergio, you don't have to give him credit for the defense and head movement. Nobody scores points off defense and head movement.
And then I want to see him. Bring him down, okay? Stop him, okay? When he gets up against ropes again. Very, very good. Deep breath. Okay, here we go.
All right, so I've got the fight scored even through 4 rounds. That looks a little tired there in the corner. Arms up. Breathing a little heavy. I really wish I understood Spanish. If I can go back in time and do anything that might positively affect my professional career, it would learn Spanish. It would be learning Spanish.
You get the feeling we're just warming up.
Took Latin.
And Chris Mannix,
4 years.
I put a note as to who I think
not useful.
Won the round. The last 2 I've got question marks next to the initial.
Yeah, I've got a dead even, but certainly the last 2 rounds were tough to score. I think the key for Canelo Alvarez is, can he continue to move as much as you have to move to stay out of range from Gennadiy Golovkin?
You see in the background Bernard Hopkins, former middleweight champion of the world, as well as the Golden Boy, multi-division world champion, and this for the middleweight championship of the world, no doubt about that, 160 pounds. Canelo Alvarez beating Miguel Cotto, 2015. Gennadiy Golovkin beating everyone he has ever fought as a professional, earning his way with several belts, and putting them all on the line here. Canelo again on the ropes. Golovkin lands with an uppercut, not much else.
Now you can say that Golovkin's not landing much, but Canelo's not coming back with anything.
In the torso, hit the body, because right now Canelo's moving his head really nicely.
That waistband is there, Sergio, isn't it?
And that's what's not going to move. So you got to hit down there. Forget about the head. Right
Both
now,
these guys are really good defensive
on the
fighters.
body if you're Golovkin. Touch something, punch something.
been something of a theme in Golovkin's recent fights. David Lemieux, he was extremely effective with the body attack, less so against Daniel Jacobs, and less so again tonight.
Jacobs able to get on his feet.
Yeah, I would say that's a good point by me.
Canelo is not that
and I've said this to Golovkin in recent fights.
To stand right in front of you. But he is
his body attack has just gone away.
And very clever
the numbers say he's just going for headshots.
Good right hand
but he has been a vicious body puncher in his career.
Slip that off.
I mentioned that Macklin fight. I mean, I can still hear the sound of the fist connecting on Matthew Macklin's midsection.
In any fashion. His eyes, his face, he's rarely touched and rarely eats one flush. Both men exchange
good counter.
Right hands. Short, tight punches as well. Right hand again by Golovkin. Canelo says no, but it landed.
You're watching fights. Every time a fighter shakes his head and says that didn't hurt, it means that hurt.
Establish that he's landing is important. These guys need to win rounds.
Now he's jabbing downstairs. I like to see him throw body shots down there if you're Golovkin.
I don't understand why Canelo's just standing there. That is not a good strategy. That is not a strategy that good judges are going to look at and say, that's a way to win rounds.
Not sure what kind of strategy it is for Canelo to fight off the ropes like this. He's not, there he goes out there, but he's not taking a ton of shots. The judge is going to look at that and see something different.
Yeah, in the previous round, Chris, you're right. He wasn't really taking any shots at all. But here now, Golovkin is scoring. And you're leaving that impression, if you're a judge, that, well, it was a dominant 15 seconds or so by Golovkin. Scoring blows are what win fights. And that round should go to Golovkin.
I don't know how you score that to anybody but Golovkin.
Espérate, toma aire. ¿Cómo te sientes? Mijo, cometiste el error que habíamos platicado. Si te quedas contra las cuerdas, él tiene la opción de tirarte ese golpe que te metió. No quiero que lo experimentes, hijo. Él tiene la ventaja porque te tiene contra las cuerdas. Ahí te metió el golpe que te ha metido sólido, es porque tú te lo buscaste, hijo. Él es más lento que tú.
I don't think Canelo's panicking in this moment. I mean, he has been in tough fights, close fights before. The Lara fight was really tough.
Here are those right hands.
That's a big shot by Golovkin.
That's the shot we were worried about. That's the one we discussed in camp.
Didn't catch him probably in the best possible spot. Caught him at the back of the head. Probably would have been better a little bit higher up, maybe close to the temple, more impactful.
Of the world in Las Vegas. Canelo Alvarez out firing. And Chris, as much as I say I try not to score these rounds, it looked like, I even said, Golovkin won that last round. Do you agree?
Yeah, 3 rounds to 2.
Brian Kennedy does try to score these rounds.
I don't like this change in strategy for Canelo to fight more against the ropes, which we're seeing again right here.
I heard 2 chopping right hands by Golovkin just landed while Canelo was against the ropes again.
Firing back Canelo Alvarez, and there, a hook to the body off a right hand.
See, that's where Canelo has to live. Middle of the ring, exchanging, using that speed against Golovkin.
Actually moves backward. Eats another jab from Canelo. And a hook.
This is where Eddie Reynoso, Canelo's trainer, wants the fight, in the middle of the ring. Do not back up against the ropes. Give your man a chance.
Outstanding.
It's easier said than done, though.
By both champions.
In the battle of the head movement and counter-punching, Canelo's looking really sharp, but I think the better punches are being landed by Golovkin. It's going to be tricky to score.
It is difficult to score. Both men are throwing lots of shots. Golovkin, if you watch a lot of his fights, you see it is difficult to even measure.
See, we're about halfway through the round, and there goes Canelo back to the ropes.
Because he's not loading up.
Now, I don't know what you attribute that to. At the time, I thought it was fatigue.
Of course,
A little bit of a dipsy-do cheap shot by Canelo. Golovkin responds. I'm good with that.
Triple G can land, and you're not even sure until you see the other guy's head move or body move how hard that shot
When you think about it, Canelo probably had the edge first half of that round, but here he is backing up. And if you're a judge, unless he's landing a big shot,
Canelo again backs up into the ropes.
what else can you do but say Golovkin's winning?
Unable to do much and blocks those shots. Now moves forward. Body shot lands. Little uppercut. Kenny Bayless says bring it back upstairs. I don't think that one was low.
Shots like those are the effective ones. Even if you block them, you
Good right hand by Golovkin.
digs in your own rib. You feel those shots.
Alvarez fighting off the ropes. Moving Golovkin back. Doesn't happen often.
Notice how Canelo's arms a little dropped after that body shot. Your arms get numb sometimes. If a punch lands at the right part of your forearm, it gets numb.
Sergio, do you sense a little lag in Canelo right here?
I do, and maybe it was that body shot. I'm telling you, body shots do that to you, and I noticed that Canelo's dropping his arms a little bit. So that earlier body shot, those shots to the body that look like they were
Golovkin just keeps coming.
effective.
Golovkin picking up the pace here.
Tremendously well-conditioned athlete.
He's able to do that against Danny Jacobs. Slap it.
See, I thought Canelo had some good moments in that first minute, but the last two,
Really good round on Golovkin.
got to give him to Golovkin.
Ahí va bien, échale huevitos nomás y métale cabeza. No quiero que te sobren ni que te quieras burlar de él, ¿ok? Nomás es lo que sabes hacer. Defiéndete, tira tus rectos, bloquea, contragolpea, hijo, ¿eh?
So I've got it 4 rounds to 2 for Golovkin through 6.
La grasa, hijo, más jab, ocupo muchos jabs.
And at this point, if you're Eddie Reynoso, you've got to be just hammering home. Don't fight off the ropes. You're not going to win rounds fighting off the ropes.
Put more grease in it, man. Okay. So a little longer.
Canelo's trainer
Here's that little
wants him
cheap
to
shot.
Back up Golovkin. They say that Golovkin doesn't
Eh, it
know
didn't
how
really
to
hit him.
fight going
And
backwards.
Gennadiy responds.
More jabs, more body shots. Get off the ropes.
7th round in Las Vegas Middleweight Championship of the World. And as I mentioned, I've never really seen Golovkin marked up in any way. There is a little redness there on the right cheek.
So it's close at this point, but
at least put his mark on the face of Triple G.
we're starting to see a little fatigue in Canelo for sure.
Golovkin coming back with a hard right
Golovkin's
hand
just
and a jab.
an incredibly
Missed with the right
well-conditioned athlete.
You know, to your point, Sergio, making Gennadiy Golovkin fight going backwards is easier said than done.
I was going to touch on that. He came out doing exactly what Eddie Reynoso wanted him to do. Told double and triple jabs. But once that stopped, Golovkin came back with the hard combinations.
There are some shades at this point in the fight. Not to the extent of, but what we saw against David Lemieux, where that jab got through and Lemieux was backing up. No, you know, Canelo's not taking the type of damage that Lemieux did, but he started to get hit pretty clean.
And for Canelo,
You see
in order
Golovkin
for him to
just
win
hunting.
rounds and win this fight, he's got to put more energy.
He's done this to
when
so
he's
many
energized,
opponents,
when he's throwing
faced him
shots.
around the ring.
Again, I mentioned he throws
Most of these
harder
opponents
shots,
not
goes
on
up
the
a little
level
bit more.
of Canelo
Right hand by
Alvarez,
Golovkin
and not
jab
with that
as well.
chin that
But
Canelo
if he is
has.
just boxing normally, just they're on the same
But this
level,
is
surge
starting
of
to look
energy,
like a
Golovkin
Golovkin
is just
type
much
fight.
more effortless and scores much more often.
And it depends who you ask. It may look like Canelo was boxing, but in a way, Golovkin's coming forward. So judges might think that he's getting pushed back. Not boxing back, he's getting pushed back. And you got to credit Golovkin for that.
You're just not going to win a lot of rounds
Golovkin now
fighting
jumps
with your
up,
back on the rope.
gets on his
Canelo
toes,
knows
chases
that, dude.
Canelo to the ropes again. Canelo takes a big gulp of air.
It just takes a
The thing
lot
about
of
ring
energy
generalship, Ryan,
to be able
if you're
to
comfortable backing up. Right now, it looks like Canelo's
fight
being forced back.
in the
That's
middle of the
difference.
ring for 12 rounds against the guy that just keeps coming at you.
Great jab there by Golovkin. Good counters by Canelo, but the jab has been key right here in Golovkin. Golovkin found a home for a power jab.
Canelo again on the ropes. Golovkin eyes him, measures him, and tries to corner him. Now he's got him there. Now he goes to work. Can he be effective this time?
Okay, Golovkin backed up slightly. He didn't want to smother his own shots.
Canelo just keeps moving round, occasionally throwing that jab out there.
Golovkin is a methodical stalker.
But even if he's blocking some of his punches, he's not throwing anything back.
Takes his time.
And the thing about Golovkin's power is he doesn't smother his power. Great uppercut there by Canelo. But he doesn't smother his power. His power comes from technique.
Final seconds of the 7th round. And it has been close. But Triple G is making his mark.
Yeah, that's an easy
Power
round
comes from its
for
precision.
Canelo. Or for Golovkin, sorry. Not for easy round for Golovkin type of round. Good pressure.
The whole round, the last 20 seconds are very important, G. Okay, the last 20 seconds are very important. You can't just let them work the last 20 seconds.
Abel's right. I mean, when you're dealing with a fighter like Canelo, you can't give the crowd a chance to get into it, and the judges get to think that a couple of minutes or a couple of seconds are what matters. Golovkin controlled that round. That was clear to anybody. This should be.
Like I said, Sí, venga pues. Inclinadita a su izquierda.
Jam-packed here at
It's
the
like, I never know
T-Mobile Center
what.
in Las
Look
Vegas.
at the body language.
Gennadiy
Canelo
Golovkin,
in that corner.
37
Like arms
and
up
0.
on the ropes, legs
Canelo
splayed
Alvarez,
out.
49, 1
Just
and 1.
screams tired fighter.
This for supremacy at 160 pounds. Chris Mannix, how do you have it scored?
I think Gennadiy Golovkin's created a little bit of a cushion for himself at this point. 68-65 in favor of Golovkin. Interesting to hear Abel Sanchez say, don't give away those last 30 seconds. And I guess you do have to be careful when a guy tries to steal a round.
Golovkin now in the first 30 seconds here being very effective. Backs Canelo Alvarez up immediately.
And that's a bit of a change because usually it's Canelo that is the more effective guy in the first 25, 30 seconds of the round.
In close fights like this where it's back and forth, a good, powerful jab like that could be the difference.
Chopping right hand
That's a
by
good
Canelo.
power shot. What a great shin, Golovkin. Both these guys, great shins.
Beautiful jab by Golovkin, straight up.
I still don't see the body attack.
Body shots there by Canelo, but you remember the jab, snap the head back.
Like it was such a staple early in his career.
Can only digest so much, can only
And I've asked
process so
Golovkin
much, and you have
about
to
this
come out
over and
with
over
things.
again.
Who you think
He doesn't really have a
won
clear
that
answer
certain
why the body
exchange.
attack is faded away from his repertoire.
They're easy to see. It snaps the head back. Even though Canelo countered with two nice body shots, it's the jab that snapped Canelo's back that you remember.
And Golovkin does it again and then moves his own head to get out of harm's way. Can Canelo Alvarez reestablish?
At this point, if you're Canelo, you've got to know that you're not going to be able to one-punch knock out Golovkin. You've got to throw
the energy in the middle of the ring.
So here's another thing that happened right there, Brian. It was a great body shot, but it was countered by an uppercut.
Kenny
that
Bayless,
also
the
snapped,
referee,
Canelo's
some of the
head
great
back.
facial
So what did you like,
expressions
the
in all
body
the
shot
boxing
or
pictures.
the clean head shot that snapped the head
He
back?
talks to himself
Very
up there,
inexact
too.
science
I
against
get it.
score and trying to get a winner in all of these rounds. And I've maintained many times that, very difficult for any.
No real need for a referee to be impactful in a fight like this. And that's the best thing about referees. If you don't know they're there, they're doing a good job.
Oftentimes, the boxers themselves don't know who wins these rounds, especially at the highest level. And this is at the highest level. Lots of punches being thrown, all with a lot of subtle skill and a lot of bad
I mean, even if you
intention.
think you can win a fight going backwards, you can't win a fight without throwing punches.
To the body because those body shots linger. So for me, at least, a body shot.
That's a good uppercut.
Good uppercut there by Canelo trying to stay off the ropes. But Canelo Alvarez is fighting a good part of this fight with his back on the ropes. Triple G pressing forward constantly. That is always a funny move. The little giddy up right there, right? Get on your horse. Giddy up. Canelo backing up. Triple G moving forward. Exchanging body shots. And look, Golovkin is
The only
not
critique I have of
allowing Canelo to
Golovkin right
breathe.
now is similar ones. Keep throwing that jab out there. Just looking for that power shot. But I think he's got to know that you're not going to knock Canelo out either. Keep flicking that jab out there. Throwing punches. Easy round. Golovkin. Tap your chest, Gennadiy. You're right. All right, so at this point, I've got it through 8.
Gee, when he's moving into the right hand, you gotta throw it this way. Don't throw it straight on me. Throw it like a hook, a long hook. Okay?
Adding this up on my phone in front of me. 6 rounds to 2 in favor of Golovkin. So, on my card anyway, you're at the point, if you're Canelo, where you have to start thinking about knockdowns or knockouts.
Okay, deep breath. Good pressure. Just a little more effective with the shots, okay?
Here's that Canelo uppercut. Right in the throat, too. What's like to get hit in the throat?
Beautifully as he tries to fight off
I
the
think that's even more impactful than a chin shot, no? Good counter by Golovkin, though. He was the busier fighter. That's another easy round to score.
Land his own uppercut. Round 9, obviously scheduled for 12, the championship round, the championship distance. Brian Kenny, Sergio Mora, and Chris Mannix. This is Las Vegas, middleweight championship of the world. Canelo Alvarez comes out firing out of the blue trunks and the gray trunks. That is Triple G, Gennadiy Golovkin.
And Brian, there's kind of a theme to some of these rounds. Canelo Alvarez comes out pretty fast early, takes the fight in the center of the ring, but as you get to about the 2-minute mark, that's when Golovkin starts to assert himself.
And there's that activity. Good activity. Not every punch landed, but good activity.
Good uppercut by Triple G.
And here comes Golovkin.
Fires back with a hook.
Can't hurt them.
Golovkin says, bring it. Let's go. In the opening seconds there was Canelo, and that is a good uppercut. And an outstanding combination by
I would
Alvarez.
love to have seen Golovkin in his prime,
Picking up now
fighting in the
round
1980s.
9.
All like 1980s boxing fans. You never have a chance to get Marvin Hagler,
I've got the last four
Hearns,
going to Triple G.
Sugar Ray fighting at
Canelo,
middleweight. I don't
but I've
know
got
if I agree
question
with that.
marks on rounds 3 and 4.
Golovkin at his best, just devastating.
Yeah, I've got it 78-70.
And as you're watching, you can't hurt him.
I have been winning the last 5 rounds after losing 2 before that. I don't think they're all that close, Brian. I think Gennadiy has really asserted himself with that jab and landed the cleaner shots.
Well, I agree. Rounds 5 and 8, I've got clearly for Golovkin.
I love when Brian Kennedy pushes my scorecard. There's the best shot of the night. Big right hand. Golovkin took it really well. That was a clean punch.
Golovkin marches back, though. Gets Canelo into the corner.
I wonder what that does to a fighter. Like, you land your best punch of the night, and the guy just kind of walks through. And sometimes guys are hurt by punches, and you know they're hurt. Like, if you're Canelo, you know Golovkin's not hurt by anything.
Left and a right by Canelo.
It's a solid round so far for Canelo.
Now a hook.
He's more active in the latter stages of it than he was
Takes a lot
in some
of
of the
energy
previous
to get there. And Golovkin, Sergio, you can speak to this. When a man is constantly on your chest, what does that do to you?
I can see a little fatigue on Canelo's part now. He's dropping his arms, he's staying against the ropes, and his trainer told him not to be against the ropes. Golovkin throwing combinations. His punches look like they still have sting behind them. That pressure bust pipes, Brian. And that's exactly what's happening here. This is a good round by Golovkin.
Canelo giving the judges a chance to give that round to Golovkin. He's had a good round so far, but just standing in that corner for 20 seconds,
it's
not a good look.
Even reset himself. He wants to be right in front of his man at all times. Body attack and a right.
These guys are two different type of defensive fighters. Like, Golovkin wants to block your punches. Canelo wants to slip them.
Canelo looking a little winded at the end of this round.
Championship rounds are next.
That was close, but I got to give that one to Canelo. I thought he had like 90-plus seconds of good work, so I'm going to let him edge that round. The body language to me just says Canelo is really tired.
Thank you.
I want to see if we get that big right hand. Good shot by Golovkin. No counter. Oh, good counter by Canelo. Better shot by Golovkin. Good counter by
right hand landed.
Here's that big right hand
by Golovkin, and here's that right hand by Canelo.
That is a winging punch.
Jab lays there.
You know, I thought Golovkin did a good job, though, of kind of rolling with it a little bit. But you could see it coming at the last second. Just moved his chin along with it, so
right hand you just saw, even though Golovkin
kind of blunted the impact a
kind
little
of
bit.
rolled with it a little bit, didn't take that clean. It was the best and cleanest punch for Canelo Alvarez of the night.
Round 10 here at the T-Mobile Center in Las Vegas. Gennadiy Golovkin, Canelo Alvarez here, a super fight for the middleweight championship of the world.
See, these middle-of-the-ring trades, this is the stuff that Canelo can win. Because Golovkin can't throw the type of combinations he
Canelo going to work.
Canelo's corner, his trainer, Eddie Reynoso, said we need these last 3 rounds. I need him sharp.
Buckle him there, did he go off balance?
Canelo is working now.
Good start either way.
Excellent work by Alvarez. Countered jabs by Golovkin. And a right hand by Canelo. Now we've got a war. Still methodical, still within range, still well-paced, but both men are firing what they've got.
Both landing and missing the same punches. Whoever lands first.
Right hand by Golovkin landed.
Canelo a little bit running out of gas in the back half of this round. Very good first minute.
Good pace on those jabs by Golovkin.
He's
got different speed with those jabs.
All that leather flying, but it comes down to the jab. The jab is the thing that's been landing for Golovkin and Canelo.
Canelo Alvarez is fighting like an A fighter for the first minute of every round and a C fighter for the last 2.
And that's the pressure that Golovkin's putting on you. It's his pressure, it's his mental pressure, the physical pressure.
Here we are.
Keep that up for 3
You know,
minutes.
the last minute. Golovkin's not throwing a lot, but there's nothing coming back.
There, never letting more than a few feet of distance in front of Canelo Alvarez. Constantly in his grill, moving him back.
With fighters like Golovkin, you can't just outfight them or outbox them. You're gonna have to show them a little bit of both. You gotta box them and fight them in the inside. You gotta get your respect and then get out.
And now to what Chris Mannix just said, can Canelo Alvarez fight hard and effectively in the second half of this round? He was excellent in the first minute.
Well, to me, he looks a little winded. He's backing up. Golovkin has been backing him up most of the fight, but now he looks like he's being pushed back.
A lot of holding from Canelo here. And look, it's, again, tough to hold a guy like Golovkin because when you do, you lean on him. He's taller. So it doesn't make it sort of a recovery move.
By Canelo.
Good flurry by Golovkin. Canelo missed a few.
Beautiful body shots there by Canelo, but the point is, Canelo's he's not boxing anymore. He's being pushed back, and that's a difference.
Yeah, that was one of those good starts for Canelo, but the last 2 minutes, on Golovkin. I gave that round to Golovkin. You know, these circumstances are where corners matter. And, you know, both Canelo and Golovkin, complete trust in their corners at this point. Canelo and the Reynosos they have a great relationship. At this point, Golovkin and Abel Sanchez were completely in lockstep. Tremendous offense, defense example for Canelo. Like, lands one shot, lands 2 shots, and then gets that left hand up enough just to knock away that punch. That was brilliant.
Chris, did you think that Canelo did enough in the second half of that round to clearly win that round?
I don't think he clearly won it, but I gave it to him. 96-94 on my card.
Yeah, that's probably the first round I disagree with myself. I'm scoring it when I did for this fight and scoring it while watching on the stream.
At the very least, look, these are difficult rounds to score, but at the very least, you can say he picked up the work rate and the energy in that round.
So he's being pushed back now. Even though Canelo's moving and boxing, he's being pushed back by punches by Golovkin. Golovkin just walking forward now.
There you go. All right, here you go.
I think we're good with the glove tapping.
Shot to the body, right on the
Not a big fan
by
of that.
Alvarez. Short jabs by Golovkin, and you see him doing the giddy up, getting after his man, and just as that little jump. Sergio, he never lets you just ease back and take a deep breath.
No, it's a mental pressure, a physical pressure, and that's exactly what you need to do against a guy like Canelo, a champion like Canelo, because he knows how to box, but he can push him back with that mental and physical pressure. It's a big deal there.
And Sergio, you know this, that there's a difference between following someone around the ring and cutting the ring off. And Gennadiy Golovkin is an expert at cutting the ring off.
Golovkin reminds you of Julio Cesar Chavez when it comes to that pressure and cutting the ring off. No one did it better than Chavez, and Golovkin does it just like that.
It's a good example, Chavez.
Canelo has fought top boxers. We mentioned it earlier, guys like Austin Trout, Erislandy Lara, even an aging Shane Mosley. But he is used to imposing his will and eventually driving his man back. He is normally always the stronger man in the ring. This is a different story. This is a different animal in front of him tonight.
Big right hand landed by Canelo. Golovkin keeps coming forward.
Hey, he's coming forward, but I don't think he's been as impactful this time.
Very good defensively. Takes a lot of effort, but he's able to bring it. Right hand by Golovkin, that caught him. Not flush, but it lands. So does that jab. All these shots matter in these close rounds.
When you're fighting a fighter, a champion like Golovkin, there's nowhere to hide. You're forced to fight back. And Canelo, he's moving nicely, but he's not fighting back as much as Golovkin. A counter shot in between, but it's enough to still get these rounds.
Side uppercut from Golovkin and a hook.
Good counter left by Golovkin.
Canelo took that
Just keep
uppercut
coming.
nicely there, because that would have hurt a lot of fighters, that sharp uppercut that landed right on the chin.
You could say that both ways, right, Sergio?
Absolutely.
Both landing good uppercuts. Can't wait.
And some good punches on both sides.
That is round number
I gave
11.
that
One
round
more to go.
to Golovkin. So as we head into that 12th round, as I add up my scores here, I've got it 8 rounds to 3 in favor of Gennadiy Golovkin. Couple swing rounds, absolutely. You can see a couple of on my part, Golovkin has a pretty commanding lead.
3 minutes, all 3 minutes, okay? Don't let him rest.
I mentioned the trainers, really good advice by Sanchez. Don't let him rest. Don't take this round off. Even though it feels like we're up, don't
ease
off
far.
the gas at all.
3 minutes left. Chris, how do you have it?
Got it 106, 103 in favor of Gennadiy Golovkin. There were a couple of swing rounds there, but Golovkin has done enough to win this fight in my card.
Who'd you give the 11th round to?
I gave it to Golovkin. I thought he did enough towards the end of that round. The counter-punching for Canelo was effective, but not enough of this. Middle of the ring, trading, landing clean shots. It starts for Canelo early, but it fades late.
Yeah, good urgency by Canelo to start. He knows it. He knows it. He has to.
His punches are more obvious. He loads up, throws them with conviction. When they land, they're very impressive. He looks to land again. And this fight could be, look, Chris, I think you're doing a good job scoring.
If you're Canelo and you're thinking like, about a rematch,
this could swing it.
This is how you win.
Jab work there. Right hands, and now very
it's
good
easier
work
said
by
than
Canelo.
done. I get it,
Started
but
with body shots in the inside by Canelo, and then that landed headshots on top.
Rounds, Canelo had to do
Golovkin still moving forward, but he ain't
and
a lot
then
of shots.
he just succumbs to the press.
Again by Canelo
You already
Alvarez.
have a blueprint for how you do it. This trick.
Golovkin marches back. Now he's throwing.
Like, you know you can take that power. And Golovkin hasn't landed massive.
Both fighters exhausted.
Golovkin fighting like a man who believes the outcome of this fight is in doubt. And the advice he got from Abel Sanchez suggests Sanchez could feel the same way.
I mean, you have to feel that way. You know, we're watching it. We're watching it with a great deal of scrutiny.
And
no
knockdowns.
This has been a really good fight. Trying to be thoughtful in our approach.
That's what happened.
You
guys just can't be knocked down.
Score it one
Big
way
time
or another.
punches.
And this could be
Big time
either
shifts.
way.
And you have to remember, too, Golovkin is the unified champion at 160 pounds, but Canelo is the A side in this fight, and that matters in situations like this.
Step back, watch your hands, watch your hands.
The fight also looks different from ringside. When we're scoring a fight ringside, when we're calling it, judges are there in that prominent position right in the middle of the ring. You have a much better view.
Get those arms down for
the fighter when they get
again. He slowed down a little bit. Been better in this round at keeping it going, but
it's
slowed
very
down.
subjective. It's very difficult. We've had a whale of a fight. That's not in question. Outstanding bout for the middleweight title. Canelo with the body shot again. Established himself early in this round with a superior work rate. Can he maintain it and win this round? And could that be enough to swing it?
Man, there's just such a blueprint for Canelo to win the match. Just be in better shape, be willing to trade.
These are two champions, two professionals fighting like that.
Golovkin will need more.
You know you have the speed
to
that
win
you
this round.
Good fight, though.
Canelo fighting to the final bell. Triple G comes back. And that's it.
Good fight.
Gennadiy Golovkin.
Gave that last round to Canelo.
Will that O go? Close fight. Outstanding fight.
Gennadiy Golovkin.
Fellas, just a fight.
Couple swing rounds, but me.
Superior in every way.
At best, you can score a draw. At best.
Hard fight. Each man had his moments. You got the feeling, Chris, as you mentioned.
Great moment for these guys. Both these guys got paid.
Was able to summon the energy.
What boxing is all about. High-level fights between high-level fighters.
To be boxing with conviction, he would win stanzas of the round. Was it enough to
I see
actually
Canelo
win the
going
full
over to
round on the
Golovkin. No
scorecard?
animosity,
I don't
no
think
bad
he did,
blood
but if
between
Canelo
those guys at
Alvarez
this point.
Wants a rematch with
I'll get it out.
Golovkin, there's a blueprint for what he did in this fight that needs to be fixed. Be aggressive.
They're friendly, just competitors. Just two guys at different stages of their careers. Their promoters wanted different things.
Some of these later rounds.
You see here in round 12, Sergio, it definitely.
This kind of combination, man. This is just
This round
brilliant
was
work. Not
that
everything getting
combination
through
early,
cleanly,
the
but those are
pressure came
scoring
late with
shots.
Golovkin. So like Chris mentioned earlier, Canelo starts off every round, but Golovkin finishes it. And usually with judges, they remember the last part of the round. It's going to be very difficult to score.
Opening rounds, it was difficult. There's a lot of question marks on my scorecard. I thought the middle rounds were pretty much all
Brian,
triple
for
G. And then I could
scoring the fight
give the
yourself.
last 3 rounds to
Not
Canelo
that's my
Alvarez.
job.
I could. Could I swing one back? Yes, I could. That's how
Hi,
close
Brian.
I thought this was. Sergio, how did you have it? I know you're not scoring it, but how did you think it unfolded as far as the scorecard?
Well, look,
There is no
I
way
really like
Sergio
I
scored
like when
this
Canelo
fight.
was boxing backwards.
Did
Golovkin
not
had
score.
some steady pressure. It could go either way by 1 round. I have a Golovkin winning 1
So you
round.
have by
A
one
lot
round,
of times it comes
Sergio.
down to, I thought this guy won the fight. But
I love
that's not
Sergio.
who won the boxing match.
I played
That's
Brian.
not how it works
You put him
in the ring.
Sergio, how you score
People
the
who
fight?
watch on
Just
TV and don't score it say, oh, I thought that guy won the fight. I would say, I thought I thought Triple G won this fight. But did he win it on the cards? That's a different story.
I think Canelo
All right, so I
boxed
lost internet there
Golovkin
for
nicely,
the
but I think
very
he
end
was outfought
of
by
this fight.
Golovkin.
Obviously, recording the very end in a different location right now, but
We'll
watching
go to Adelaide Bird,
the very
Dave
end back
Moretti,
once again.
and Don Trella. They will have the final say. It is.
I thought
not
Golovkin
an
outboxed
easy
Canelo
job.
too. I thought he was really good. Power, accuracy.
37.
I thought this was a
and
clear
0.
win for Gennadiy
Triple
Golovkin.
G has never lost as a
Ladies and
professional.
gentlemen, we go to the scorecards after 12 rounds of boxing. Adelaide Bird scores it 118 to 110 for Canelo. Dave Moretti scores it
118 to 110 for Canelo. How do you get to 118, 110 for Canelo Alvarez?
114, a 3-way split.
Oh.
This is officially a draw.
I hate draws. There should be a 4th judge. How about
Well,
the
there is a
referee
stunning outcome.
gets to be like the
And
deciding? I don't know.
A draw
I hate
almost
draws.
always gets
I
booed.
hate it.
It shouldn't be.
And I
that
hate this
way,
draw
but it is
more than any
disappointing on
because
both
there's
sides.
no way.
But you have a wide
There's no way you
range
can get to
of
118,
scoring
110.
there.
No way.
From 6
That is one of
rounds
the
to
worst
6,
scorecards
which
I have
can
ever
see,
seen.
to
One of the
10
worst
rounds to
scorecards
2 for Canelo Alvarez.
in boxing
That
history.
seems
Like
ludicrous.
high-level fight, championship fight, you have a judge that scored at 118 to 110. It's not Canelo's fault, by the way. Canelo fought a great fight. Stepped in there with the middleweight king and was impressive, as impressive as anybody's been against Golovkin.
For Canelo Alvarez.
Great performance.
That scorecard submitted by Adelaide Bird.
But how do you get to 118, 110? I feel bad for Golovkin. That's why if they fight for a 3rd time, it's a rubber match. No question. Rubber match. Golovkin, 1 win. Canelo, close fight the 2nd time, but 1 win. 3rd fight, rubber match. Let's get it on. I don't care how old Golovkin is. Canelo looks like the better fighter at this stage of their careers, but let's get it on. Because this is bullshit.
Still an
That-
outstanding fight.
That's just wrong.
The highest
Wrong way to
level,
treat Gennadiy
the middleweight
Golovkin. How is the
championship
unified
world,
world champion
even with the
get screwed over
disappointing
like that?
result, the
Next
fight
time,
was not
I'm going to watch
disappointing
this fight back
at
with
all.
Adelaide Bird.
I'm
If you're
Brian
out there,
Kelly,
Adelaide, I
Sergio
want to watch
Mora
this
and
fight
Chris Mannix. We
with
hope you
you.
enjoyed it. We say goodnight from Las Vegas.